Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Foxy Box's map making with Sparks. So last week's episode was a little bit shorter and a little bit different to usual. I was working on modeling and texturing for our deserty levels. So we have this sort of stripy stone, which is supposed to look kind of deserty. I think it looks alright. I learnt something about creating texture variants. You can see that we've got the different sort of shapes and ripples in the stone, which I think adds a little bit more variation to the level. And we were also modelling the fences to create a bit more variation to the shape of the walls, which I think builders will find very useful for the level design. I think what this area needs, first of all, I haven't worked out yet how to cover the top of these things. We also have the slight issue that their bounding box is a little taller than they are, but for decorationals, especially higher up on the walls, I think they'll work quite well. I know that Genium was posting some sort of message about how we can cover the tops of these fences. I will have to stare at that for a long time to work out what he was saying, because it's all new to me. So that was last episode. I think we've got something pretty good here. I think we also need some more types of stone to break up these levels, and also maybe some sort of desert plants and things like that. In fact, while I remember, Genium sent in a really nice cactus model we should have a look at. So this is Genium's cactus model, which I think looks pretty neat. It is slightly translated so it's floating above the floor. You can set block dead bushes on any block you like. What I didn't realise is that they will get a random block update eventually and vanish. And because I was planning to use them as sort of a way of adding decorational items to the game, because they are blocks that you can walk through and stuff. So I'll have to find some alternatives. I mean, I guess some of the different redstone dusts and things like that have similar sort of walk-throughable properties. So they will eventually vanish. Also, if you try and cause a block update next to them, they will also disappear. But it's a pretty cool model. I like it a lot. It just needs to be translated downwards a little bit, I think. Or we can move it onto armor stands if we want to. So those could be used as a little bit of decoration. I might make the green a bit of a duller green, sort of a more dusty green. But generally, it looks pretty good. So back to something we were talking about in an earlier episode. I was trying to get a way of using Enderman to detect when a player is looking at a certain planet on a 3D level selection field. And it was met with mixed success. So the problem was that there is no angry tag for an Enderman. So I was struggling to work out how to detect when a player was looking at it. Now a lot of you sent in suggestions for how we can change this, and interestingly, a lot of you realized that if you give an Enderman slowness or an attribute modifier so that it can't move, when it's angry, it runs faster, so it's able to move. And then you're basically saying that you have the Enderman stood in one place, and then it would only be able to move once it was angry. And then you basically just detect when the Enderman's position changes. This worked pretty well, but there were some problems with it. First of all, the Enderman had to move. Secondly, because it wasn't on an armor stand, we couldn't set its height to whatever height we wanted, so we were a bit limited in that respect. And finally, Endermen have a habit of, when they're not angry, just randomly teleporting. They only do this if they're in sunlight, but it's still a bit of a danger, and it slightly limits our level designs. The 8-bit monkey discovered that there is, in fact, a tag change when an Enderman is angry. It is the attribute modifiers tag. So a regular, not angry Enderman will not have any tags, but when it is angry, it will get the attributes modifiers tag. Like this. Nope. So we just have to check for the attribute modifiers tag on the Enderman, and if it exists, then the Enderman is angry, which means that we can stick it on an armor stand. We don't have to worry about it moving or detect when it's changing. We just look for Enderman with this tag. So we should be able to create this sort of level selection menu now using this method, which the 8-bit monkey very excitedly told me about the other day. Okay, so here we have our original setup with our Enderman. We're going to have to either retexture or remove these Enderman particles. We can already make him silent, so that's not an issue. So what we're going to do is, the name of the Enderman is Planet 1 Hover. So we should be able to detect when this Enderman becomes angry. So let's set this to always active and go test for @e name equals Planet 1 Hover. Was that the capitalization? Nope. Camel case, Planet 1 Hover. And then our attribute modifiers go here, which it did find him, that's good. So we'll put this right here in here. I think I just heard him try to teleport. We may have to remove that sound effect from the sound files and replace it with a blank one. Did not match the required data structure. And then this one we will make conditional, say grrr. So let's go into game mode 0 and see what happens when we look at this Enderman. Look at it! Perfect, perfect. So he's now angry. So what we need to do is we need to detect when we discover this angry Enderman. Did it stop? It did stop. They do eventually unanger, but that's fine because we're going to kill them right away. So when we detect that the Enderman is angry, first of all we need to I suppose let's create a new selection array here. All of these lines are reserved for level starting and stopping. So let's move this somewhere new. I think our fox models are missing. That's a chicken. Right, so I've created a second planet called Planet 2. Just so we can tell that we're differentiating between these things. So let's have a think about this then. Let's just put them over here for now, I guess. So we are detecting when Planet 1 Hover. In fact, we might even be able to simplify this. Instead of checking for the name, we can just check for any planet, any Enderman that is angry, and set the local planet to have a tag. So tag equals planet select. And then we will get rid of these guys, add a new tags array and put planet select in there. Alright, I've changed this now, so instead of just testing for the planet select with the attribute, I'm adding a kill me tag to it, and then when that succeeds I am block dataing this line here to run. So we're going to use another trick that Monkey showed me, which is instead of, like, to kill these Endermen, right, if we just did /kill, they would play the kill sound effect, they would keel over and turn red, they will play a puff of smoke when they die, and they will drop an ender pearl, possibly. I do think I've got mob drops turned off, but that's what happens generally when you /kill an entity. So what I've always done in this situation is to just teleport them into the void. But what Monkey showed me is that you can actually entity data @e tag equals kill me with a health of 0 and a death time of 19, and this causes it to just vanish. It doesn't keel over, it doesn't turn red, it doesn't play any smoke particles, it doesn't play a death sound effect, and it doesn't drop any items, which is pretty neat, and it's actually faster than dropping them into the void. So entity data @e tag equals kill me, health 0, death time 19, and we also need to kill the armor stand that it's riding, which is called nothing currently. Okay, it's now called Planet Holder. So we're going to move this entity data here, and before we kill it, we are going to kill the armor stand it's riding on. And execute at E tag equals kill me to kill the closest. Actually, I don't know if we have to kill this. Can we entity data a an existing entity to have a new passenger? I wonder. Okay, well, we're gonna have to kill it and then resummon it based on the planet, I suppose. All right, here goes nothing. Nothing. Well, we're getting there. So when I look at the Enderman, it vanishes. The wait, what? I thought invisible. Is it just markers? Am I thinking of markers? Selection's working, it just doesn't reset itself. So what I'm doing is I am removing all selected planet tags from our stands so that we remove whatever the previous selection was. Then I am tagging the closest planet to the angry Enderman to be the selected planet. Then I am killing the armor stand that the Enderman is sat on. Then I am killing the Enderman, and then I am applying a glow effect to the selected planet for 1 second. Seems to be pretty much working. Now we just need to resummon the armor stand with Enderman under it, under the planet, once, which I think should be manageable. Changing them to marker armor stands, because invisible seem to be outlining the entire armor stand with the glow effect. I swear, marker, I swear that it is possible to make just the item glow. So let's try that again. There we go. So we have to use invisible and marker. Got it. Alright, let's have a look. Didn't resummon the Enderman. Speech mark is not a valid number. There is no speech mark in this command. Great. Double space. Double space. I also was trying to summon this block. I was trying to summon it up instead of down. Let's try that. Oh, we're kind of getting there. It's just summoning it in the wrong place. That seems pretty good to me. Looking at them triggers it pretty quick. I like it. Let's make him invisible. What? Enderman's eyes are visible when they're invisible. That is hilarious. The planets, they're watching me. This deserves a screenshot, I think. Here, look at me, guy. Okay, well, I imagine we can fix that using a texture pack to modify the eyes. Unless the eyes are like a separate layer or something. We'll have to look into that. But the selection process seems to work. We can even put them on different teams to change the colour of the ring around them. So if I add a background colour to the particle sheet, I think this is the Enderman texture up top here. It looks like it's white, which means it's being tinted elsewhere. So we may not be able to really create a nice feeling of, you know, like a sort of a bluey, greeny, hologram style colour. What we can try do is colour this a colour that isn't white and see whether blending that colour with the purple that is already there will somehow change what colour we get. Alright, let's have a look and see what that looks like. It's just white squares at the moment. So we're getting these sort of square purpley particles, which are actually kind of interesting. I sort of like them, actually. It's just such a shame about the colour. And also the height. It's being summoned in too tall a space. Actually, I noticed that we've got a particles showing for the invisibility effect as well, so we should fix that. So if we now tint these like green, what happens? Oh, well, they're kind of green now. That's interesting. Much darker green than we put. I wonder what happens if we colour each one differently. Okay, so I've got sort of a rainbow colour of particles here now. Let's see how that looks. Interesting. It looks like particles choose from one of the selections you give them, rather than sort of one particle cycles through all of the available particles through the course of its life. I also noticed that they're all kind of very much tinted in the purple direction, so it might be difficult for us to get any sort of pale blue in here. About as blue as I've managed to get it so far. So we could affect slightly how different in size the particles are as a result, though. Okay, so now all of them are the same size in the model file. Kind of look like flies now, don't they? Which is kind of interesting. One other thing I want to try is if we remove all but one of these, do we reduce the frequency of the particle? Are like most of them then invisible, but some of them are visible? Let's try that. So here's our particle frequency now, and then when we refresh, yeah, there's less of them. It's kind of interesting. Having played with it for a bit though, I think that we're better off just removing the particle entirely from our resource pack. It occurs to me that that particle is possibly used for a few other things. Torches, for example, may now not give off smoke. Not that that's really... Oh, okay, right. That's the flame, but the smoke particle is gone. So it must have been using the same particle file inside the particle effect. So that's kind of interesting. I guess we don't really need smoke anywhere. I hope not. Oh yeah, look at that. Enderman and Enderman eyes are two separate texture files in here. So we should be able to just make this one blank, and that'll solve our issue. I want... Oh, actually... So there's our head section, right, which is 32 wide. What happens if we draw the eyes as a ring? It's kind of interesting. Does I mean, it's different, but I think that it's not really... It's a bit weird. I mean, that could potentially be quite useful in some other situation that I can't think of right now, but maybe not today. But at least we know we can do it, right? Finally, I'm going to increase the duration of this, and I'm going to clear the effect from the previous selected planet at the start here. So we're going to change this to 0 to clear it, and then remove the selected planet tag. So now we should see the selection remains after we look away. Remains, switches. Beautiful. Well, that's about all we have time for today. Thank you very much for watching. I think we need some, definitely need some more modelling for this, so we actually have sensible looking planets. We can change the selection rings, and we need to build a system where we can effectively change the level based on the one we've looked at. So a bit of a sort of a marking system, which I think is going to be fairly simple to set up. I am, by the time this video has gone out, I will be in Manchester at a conference, an educational conference, and I will be getting home and going straight to Sweden, well, to Amsterdam and then Sweden. So when this video comes out, I will be in Manchester, and when next week's video comes out, provided I have time to record another one today, which is like my last free day in the next 2 weeks, that will be out when I'm in Sweden. So enjoy! I probably won't give much feedback or reply to too many comments until I get back. So thank you very much to 8-Bit Monkey for coming up with your selection method, which was the best of all of the ones suggested by people. Although I do thank everybody who came up with suggestions for fixing it. I'll see you next time. Bye!